Before you hop into this video, I wanted to share a little bit of background, if you will, of what led up to the video being recorded and then what happened towards the end of this Taurus Bae reading. So since last month, I've been going in order from the birthday sign and going all the way, around the zodiac wheel from there. So of course, I did Aries before I did Taurus. Aries Bae, Taurus Bae. But before I sat down to do the Taurus Bae reading, and those of you who have watched all of the Crosswatchers only readings so far have noticed a theme where a lot of repeater cards are coming up and scenarios are very similar, and how a lot of the readings are focusing a lot on personal development. I think I said that like in Aries, I was like, it's funny that the Crosswatchers only readings are sounding a lot like soul sessions, right? So that's been a theme. But before I sat down to do the Taurus reading, I had a thought of, a lot of themes I picked up on in the Aries Bae reading were very similar to energetic themes that happened at the 1st of October with the Aries full moon. And as you know, I've been talking the whole month about the 31st. On the 31st of October, it is the Taurus full moon, which dates back to the intentions that you all set back in April. Those of you who did the Purpose RX course. But I say all of that to say, I just had a thought before recording. It would be so funny if the reason why, these two readings in particular, like with the Aries and now with the Taurus, it's like it would be funny if it ended up coming out, very spiritually, personal development, individual focused like Aries did. And I'm just like, haha, that'd be funny, right? So I recorded this reading, and midway through, I started to realize that even though, depending on what you're looking at it for, what you hope to get out of it, if you wanted to watch it just from the perspective of you cross-watching, a Taurus person and finding out your relationship, you'll get some information there, right? Up to a certain point. It's somewhere around the last 15 minutes of the video is where I really started to see like the spiritual message that was coming through in the cards. And that's when it kind of hit me why all of these readings are coming out like this. I do all of the love readings in the middle of the month. We're getting closer to the portal on the 31st. And I see that Spirit is pretty much working through these love readings to get messages to people about their personal lives. And different things they have going on. And I believe relationships are beautiful catalysts, for us to learn said lessons. But a message came through at the end of this video. I think it's very beautiful. I think it's very, very helpful. But for that reason, because the blue moon, the full moon on the 31st is in Taurus, just like I said with Libra soul session, I think it's imperative that everyone in the collective, even if you don't have Taurus in your chart or you're not dating nobody that's a Taurus, I think it's imperative that everyone watches this reading. And I mean, it's up to you. If you fast forwarded through until like the end part, I might do like chapters or something. If you fast forwarded through to the end of it, you'd still get the message. However, if you're not looking at this from a relationship perspective, I would suggest to listen from the very beginning. And instead of looking at it like, Crosswatcher person of interest, more or less seeing it as, who you are in your shadow, or your masculine aspects and your feminine aspects. Or if we were to go macro level, you can look at it as black and white mindsets in humanity. If we broke it down that way, if you looked at the person who's the Crosswatcher as, one form humanity has a tendency to take, you look at the person who's the Taurus as another form that humanity tends to take, and understanding that the premise of how all of this came out is helping us to get to the middle of those two extremes. And something else that came out in this reading that I would also suggest is watching Aquarius, watching Scorpio, watching Taurus, and watching Leo's soul sessions. And you can do the Crosswatcher only ones too, but I would still look at it from that same perspective. Because if you are preparing for this full moon on the 31st in this energetic portal that the entire collective is going through, all of the information in this video, as well as in those other signs, I feel is, man, at 333. I just looked at the clock and it's 333. Come on, somebody, come through Metatron. Anyway. But I would suggest to look at it because it would give you a great deal of information to be able to apply to your life for the rest of this month and going into the end of 2020. So hopefully you're still here listening to me. I'm going to be quiet now and let you guys go ahead and enjoy this reading. Let me know what you think in the comments. You know what I'm saying? I love your face. And here we go. Hello, beautiful human. Welcome to the Taurus Bae Crosswatcher reading. I am Princess India. If you are new and if you're family, welcome back, my friend. I had to kind of switch it up a little bit. So anywho, if you're not familiar with what a Crosswatchers only reading is, it is a reading that I do with the intention of helping out somebody who's trying to crosswatch on a Taurian, which is, I'm a Taurus, like a double Taurus, so it's just haha funny to me. But anyway, for a person who's trying to cross watch for a Taurian Bae, however, I have learned through the grapevine being the comments, that these readings have a tendency to resonate for non-romantic situations. If you are a Taurus, hello, brethren and sisterin and whatnot or whatever. Some people actually resonate, even though I'm like kind of talking about you behind your back, but I'm sorry. I mean, I really don't think that most of the people I talk about need to be my subscribers anyway, but sometimes the sign that I'm reading about can resonate. So, and also it's kind of like flippy floppy. So get in where you fit in, my friend. So anywho, let's go ahead and jump into these cards and see what is going on, Crosswatcher, between you and your Taurian person between October 15th until November 15th, my friend. I'm gonna take both of those because both of those tried to come out. All right, so let's see. First card that we have. All right, we have the World card. A Saturn energy that's taking us back to a specific date, that of which will be September 29th. Of this year. So I can already say that there was an epic cycle, maybe a karmic cycle, and probably a karmic cycle. I'm saying maybe it's Saturn. Okay. So an epic karmic cycle ended somewhere around the 29th of September. So, you know, midway through towards the end of September, there was a huge cycle that ended between you and your Taurian person, just throwing that out there. Then we have the Six of Cups in the reverse, and then we have the Three of Swords. Whoa, okay. So here's the deal. It would seem as if there's, well, not seem, but I mean, it literally is, but I mean, we're all talking about fixed signs and things of the sort. Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio. Just throwing those signs out there. But anywho, I'm getting a whole nother message from that. What I want to say is you could be any one of those signs. I also want to say, yes, it's a karmic cycle that ended, right? But it shook shook your foundation, if you will. Like pretty much up to that point, either what you thought with this Taurian person or what you thought just about life in general, It's more or less being introduced to a new normal or a new reality, if that's making sense. And things that you felt were set in stone, things that you felt were guaranteed. Just kind of, you know, how we can get complacent with things. And, you know, we kind of project into the future because, you know, we feel tomorrow is promised. Like, I'm definitely going to wake up tomorrow. Like, nothing is going to befall my life. You know what I'm saying? I feel that whatever this is, like the 3D experience that occurred that has this energetic vibration, so meaning how this cycle ended, shook your foundation is what I'm trying to say. But going into the 6 of Cups in the reverse, it's more or less like a stuck energy. I like to look at this as hindsight bias. So it's more or less looking at the past and idealizing it in some way, shape, form, or fashion, or beating oneself up and saying, you know, shoulda, coulda, wouldas, if you will. Like, what if, like, maybe I should have never said that? What if I would have did this? Or what if I would approach it like this? Like, I should have never went that way, in a sense. So I feel like with you guys emotionally, it's being in a sense of, I want to say catatonic. You know what I mean? Where it's like a stagnancy that you're in. And then that brings us into this 3 of Swords, where we're talking about melancholy and heartbreak, you know? So if I were to put all of this together, what it would sound like to me is that there was potentially like a breakup, you know, between you and this Taurian person. And at present, it's just kind of, you know, beating yourself up. But I mean, it's normal because it's, you know, middle of October. So if that was end of September, it kind of hasn't been that long. So it's kind of normal to still be in this grieving stage. The only thing that gives me this aura of concern, if you will, is just the fact that it's kind of like you're beating yourself up. I'm not even saying kind of, like you really are. It's feeling as if like wanting to turn back the hands of time, if you will. And we know, you know, we can't change the past, but I feel in the midst of this inadvertently kind of acts as a dark distraction, because it's not seeing the situation for what it really is, if that's making sense. So it puts my Crosswatcher person at a risk of missing what this lesson really was about. Because of course we know, like, the World card is about the completion of cycles, which is a very empowering thing, like creating a new foundation, which is very much what the whole, you know, those of you who are woke bookers, the whole year of 2020 is about that. It's establishing a new foundation for your life. So this more or less should be a celebratory time, to where you have a clear understanding of your experience. But I feel it's focusing more on the ending and what one could have done prior to prevent said ending, and missing like the truth of the situation, if that's really making sense. Now, the next cards that we have, I know you lying to me. We have the Judgment card, which is Pisces energy, and we have the 8 of Pentacles. Then we have the Ace of Cups in the reverse. And then we have the Lovers in the reverse, and that's Gemini energy. Whoa, okay. So what is looking like for the Taurus person you guys are cross watching for, seeing this Judgment underneath this World card, these 2 cards, you know, they're back to back, you know, I mean, in the order of things. But this is more or less the proverbial trumpet call, if you will. It's a rebirth, you know? So this is more or less that step before this completion of the cycle, which would also be a beginning of another. And that is so fascinating. I had a dream about that. I'm looking at this infinity symbol in the World card, and I actually had a dream about, and in my mind when I saw this, I was thinking, I was like, I saw a giant number 8 that was rainbow colors. And it was just like black everywhere. And it's like I'm laying on my back and I just see like this ginormous like 8. But I'm looking at this World card, and I'm I'm seeing it more or less as the infinity symbol, even though it's like straight up and down instead of sideways. And it's making me think about that. It's like why I feel there's this whole, and this is just kind of like a side note of the energetic undertones of what's happening in the collective. It's like there's this whole mirroring that's been happening. So if you've been kind of watching all of the readings, you'll start to see it. It's a lot of the same cards that are coming up. It's a lot of the same themes. It's a lot of mirroring that's happening between the people that I'm reading for. And that's for good reason, because of us being in this Scorpio Mercury retrograde. It's more or less, this is a time in which we are facing our shadow going into the 31st. So with this partnership, like much prior to it, you know, this has a huge hand in that. So why I say it's imperative for my Crosswatcher person to really kind of sort through this and ensure that you don't miss the lesson is because this lesson is, or this experience rather, is more of a mirror into yourself than I think you may presently realize. So it's more or less focusing on the circumstance or the person or what you should or should not have done or should or should not have said. And it's kind of missing the boat in the sense of seeing, what are you seeing in yourself, you know? And what ways is one masquerading? Like, how many times have you been here before in so many words in a similar situation? And that's just what's coming up with that. But it's more or less like, I say with the 31st, it's facing the Judas in the mirror and realizing that the Judas is you, like us being our own greatest enemy in a sense. And again, I know this is very, very deep for a love reading, but our romantic relationships are the greatest and most easiest catalyst that spirit can use for us to learn lessons, because everybody wants love. Everyone wants to be loved. Everyone wants to be in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? But anywho, going back to this Judgment card, we're talking about rebirth. And I feel more or less this is something like a dual experience. I feel much like I said for Aries, I was saying with Aries how, well, Aries Crosswatcher, that they were a catalyst in Aries growth. And I feel very much the same for you guys, Taurian person. It's like this experience was intended to bring both of you to another level of awareness of oneself, you know, but I don't want to say I don't know. It's like looking at your Taurus person with this 8 of Pentacles next to the Judgment. It's almost as if this was intended for your Taurus person to bring them closer to spirit or make them aware of spirit if they ain't spiritual at all. You know what I'm saying? Like this was like, hey, you know, you're like a spirit that just so happens to have a body type of thing. And it's more or less how they're coping. Gosh, and I'm looking at the 8 and 8. This is insanity. This is 8 of Pentacles is right underneath the World card with that 8. And I just talked a whole bunch about an 8. Whatever, I'm here for it. But it's more or less your Taurus person. I feel that they kind of went, and I would say this is more a coping thing. It's like going back into like work. So it's like, I don't really understand what's going on here. I don't really understand what happened. But it's like, I'm going to go back to something that's stable and secure, which would be like work, money type of stuff. Now, next we have the Ace of Cups in the reverse. So that's speaking of emotional disappointment. So I would say like at present, you and them are kind of in the same space. Emotionally, it's more or less on my Crosswatcher's end, it's more focused on shoulda, coulda, wouldas. With the Taurus person, it's more on the, you know, oh, that sucks, this didn't work out the way that I thought. You know what I'm saying? So it's like disappointment. So it's more or less for them, it's they're in their feels like you, but they're more, I wanted this to be something and it's not type of deal. But coming into this Lovers in the reverse, it's more or less we're speaking to the same thing that I'm seeing with this Eight of Pentacles, which is, and I can't even just say you, Crosswatcher, it's almost like both of y'all are kind of missing the boat on this. It's like it's not it's not it's not getting it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because traditionally when you speak about dude, yeah, this is Wild Magnolia. This is like, and I'm gonna say it, but this is like twin flamey kind of stuff, you know, and different, like, and I say different because my ethos on twin flames is very different. So, and I don't want to confuse anybody or give you a whole like lecture on this or anything, but it's more or less, if you think about literally, let's just go with Gemini. If you think about Geminis and you think about Geminis being twins, right? If you think about fraternal twins, right? So you got one boy, one girl, two girls, two boys, like whatever the case may be, right? It's the fact that these are, you know, people who have the same DNA, share the womb, all this other kind of stuff. So if you think of all of the elements of twins, like twin babies, you know what I'm saying? It's like going back to this whole mirror reflection thing and why I say both of you guys kind of aren't getting it, because it's like, you know, the Taurus person is just like, oh, you know, that didn't work out. Like, I'm going to go to work, you know? Like, that sucks. That didn't work out. Didn't see that going that way. You know what I'm saying? But it's like going forward into this energy, it's like they still don't get it though. Because it's like they're not seeing themselves in you the same way that I was saying that you're not seeing yourself in them. It's like kind of missing the point. So if we think about this in the sense of like I talk about like us facing our shadows, the whole premise of this is facing each other's shadows. So if you come into the sense of like what twin flames are and the role that they play, it's not necessarily I mean, it's not saying that it couldn't happen, but the premise of what this is, it's not that, you know, this person is your mirror and like you heal, they heal, and y'all live happily ever after. It's not saying that that can't happen, but that's not the purpose of it. It's like the purpose of it is that there's no better person to be your mirror than this person, because this person is so much like you, right? That it's almost the equivalent of like genetic twins. So it's more or less in an astro DNA birth chart kind of way that this person is a twin to you. So because we're living our lives as ourselves, it's very difficult to see yourself, you know, because we have our own biases. So you have someone who comes into your life that reflects you to you. So everything that you judge in this person, all the things that you dislike about this person, it's you, right? But a lot of times it's an inability to see that. And that's what I'm seeing here, you know? Because with my Crosswatcher, it's going into this whole beating yourself up in the head, melancholic energy, feeling sorry for yourself, shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And then it's more or less with the Taurus person, it's just, you know, just numbing out like, whoop, oh well, keep it moving. And it's like, that's still, so it's like you guys are handling it two different ways, but it's like, both of you are still missing what the whole point of all of this was, if that's making sense. I hope that that's making sense. Ooh, child. At the bottom of y'all deck, y'all got the 10 of Swords. So this is a completion, man. And it's like, let me pull more cards before I just like lecture y'all to death. All right. 10 of Cups in the reverse, the 9 of Wands in the reverse, and then the 10 of Wands in the reverse. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. So with this 10 of Cups in the reverse, With both of you, yes, this is disappointing. Things did not work out the way that you intended them to. However, I would have to say that the commonality that I'm seeing here is it's an emotional thing, I would say, with both of you, because it's like looking at this Ten of Swords here. Of course, we're talking about a completion of a cycle, yes, but it's looking at mental energy. So it's overkill. Like, what brings a person to this point, even looking at the fact that the Ten of Wands is here, right? These are masculine energies. The all of the feminine energies are overturned, you know? So it's almost, not almost, but literally operating in the lower vibrational aspect of these cup cards. You know what I mean? So it's like with the Ten of Cups in the reverse, it's you know, disappointment and hope lost and like unfulfillment and things of the sort. We have one person that's dealing with that by distracting themselves and like cutting off even further from their emotions. You have another person who's diving even deeper into their emotions and then takes their mind and is just like, make my emotions even worse by, you know, me beating myself up in my head type of deal, you know? And it's like the whole premise of this is ideally you're supposed to be, or what would behoove you rather, would be releasing this burden, because it's almost like it's unnecessarily carrying something. So what we're talking about is something that was brought into your life, like this connection that was intended to make you better. But because of focusing more on the ending or the lesson, or just being too caught up in emotions or disassociating or whatever, it's like it's made you proverbially bitter. And I say that not just for one person, but for both, you know, because there's a fear of like emotional vulnerability here. And I think like that's what the whole like purpose of this was, you know what I mean? It's like when something doesn't work out the way that you wanted, one person just numbs out and pretends it never happened, right? The other person won't let it go and just keeps replaying it like a broken record. But that's the reason why the two of you were brought together in the first place, you know, to see that in one another, you know? And it's like the intention was to break a mindset that I feel is keeping both of you trapped. And I feel whether this is partnerships prior to this, like, I don't know if y'all been together for buku long years, or if it's, you know, several partnerships prior to this, it's this question of why didn't all of those partnerships work out? And then you meet this person and it's like, it still didn't work out. And the question is, why is that? You know what I mean? And I say that more or less as a reflective question. It's like, why didn't this work out? Is it the other person's fault? Is it all your fault? Is spirit playing a cruel joke on you? Like, what do you believe about it? How familiar is this? Have you been here before? You know? Because this would speak to a sense of emotional unavailability at different ranges, right? Indecisiveness, the refusal to look at things or to take personal accountability, you know? It's like it's not seeing, and then just constantly being on guard too, man. It's like, man, this is wild. It's almost like this feeling, the similarity I see in this is like, it's this feeling of always like, always left holding the bag, man. And it's like it's like discouragement and getting tired of fighting or standing. But all of that is because it's like, thank you. Thank you, dog. Wild Magnolia. We have the Ace of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles in the reverse, and the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, people. So here's the thing. The why all of this stuff happened is because this was a new opportunity, like I said up here, with the world and with judgment. This is a new opportunity that has or was given or that still is available to both of you, right? Because it's almost like how I see it, like just with judgment in the world being like that, it's like, if we look at it in a sense of spiritual evolution, personal growth, however, it's like both of you are almost there, you know? And this is like, and I believe that when it comes to this whole thing with twins, it's like, it's a certain place that you are in your spiritual growth to where you'd meet someone like this, because it's like, if you think about it like in an allegorical sense of the final battle between good and evil, you know what I'm saying? It's that kind of vibe, you know? But it's like, in the truth, it's not you fighting this person, it's you seeing so much of yourself in this person, and how you're relating to each other is how it is that you're relating to yourself. However you feel that they're treating you on some level or another is how you're treating yourself. It's like the ultimate like antithesis in so many words, but it's misinterpreting how this whole thing works. And this is what's ironic. Oh, Taurus, y'all gonna have to bear with me, because before I even started recording this, Taurus, I was thinking to myself, I said, we had 2 full moons this month, and I did Aries before you guys, and I said, that's so interesting that it's like Aries started the month on the 1st of October with the Aries full moon, and then Taurus is ending the month on the blue moon, the day of the portal, on October 31st. And I said in all the soul sessions how important it was those first 4 days of October, the 1st through the 4th, how important the 13th was, because the 13th is in essence a mirror reflection of the 31st, right? And how this all like reduces to 4s, which is 2020 being a year 4. Speaking of foundations, the 4 corners, like all this really deeply fixed sign, spiritual, like esoteric stuff, right? And just the energy vibrations of this. And I thought to myself, I said, I wonder if Taurus's reading is going to end up coming out like wild because with this being the sign that ends this month, it's almost like alpha and omega in a sense, like beginning and the end. And with this month being so transformative, and I'm seeing this because I usually will never go like another row of cards, but it's tripping me out because it's connecting to so many other things that I know that are going on right now energetically. And it's almost like how I said, like Libra soul session was more or less like a collective reading because it's speaking to collective energies. It's like, this is what I feel like with this, even though this is like supposed to be a love Crosswatchers reading, it's like if spirit got a message to get through, it's going to come through regardless. But it's just the simple fact that it's, and I said this with Aries too, it's looking at a blessing like a curse, and it's still not getting it. And I would even go as far as to say, because I keep looking at this world card, and I may have to do this myself. I think it's imperative in Leo, I haven't done Leo yet, but I think it's imperative to look at the Aquarius reading. It doesn't matter which a sign is, to look at the Aquarius reading, whether it's the Aquarius Bae or it's the Aquarius soul session, the Scorpio Bae, the Scorpio soul session, the Taurus Bae, which you in right now, and the Taurus soul session, the Leo soul session. And then when I put up the Leo Bae, to watch that too, because I really feel that there's elements in each of those that the entire collective needs to know. Because it's coming to this place of understanding that it's like all of the things that are happening to you in your life, running away from them, ignoring them, or beating yourself up on the inside for them, none of that is helping. Because it's like it's still missing the message. It's misconstruing what this whole thing is about. This entire month is about this mirror, bigger than twin flames, bigger than relationships. It's like this is a very, very big deal. You know, on a grand scale, this is a big deal. And the premise of why all of this was happening was to offer you an opportunity and a new beginning that was tangible, more grounded, more in alignment with you. It's like this was intended to help you, not hurt you, you know? But still, this comes back to the Two of Pentacles and the reverse of being, it's a need to make a choice to do something different. Because both of these people are very much stuck in their ways, very much stuck in their ways. I feel my Crosswatcher has always looked at life like this. Why me? Why is this always happening to me? Why did I say that? And why do people always do this to me? And da-da-da-da. And it's like punishing yourself in your head. I always look at the Three of Swords of your mind stabbing your heart. You know, it's like masochism. It's self-deprecation. You know what I mean? And it's being very much living in the past. It's still very much living there. You have the World card here. We literally had Saturn go direct at the end of September. However, in the present, the Crosswatcher has the Six of Cups in the reverse. So after going through a major cycle ending, all of this baggage from the past got brought into the present. And we're still feeling bad about it when we were given a clean slate in a sense, right? And then it's like with your Taurus person, it's like disassociation, like, oh, that didn't work out. Like, you know, I'm just going to go focus on this now and pretend that this isn't happening, you know? And it's like their cycle is starting with, well, that's another thing that didn't work out. But it's like still not getting to the heart of the matter, you know? It's operating in that lower vibration of the emotions as opposed to the higher vibration of the emotions. So it's like, in essence, when I look at the Lovers in the reverse, I see the devil, because those cards are two sides of the same coin. So it's still very much being in bondage and being complacent in the same exact mindset, where the two of you came into each other's lives so that that mindset could die. Because this isn't just a cycle ending in your romantic relationship. These are two people who have epic cycles ending in their lives. You know, so this, in the bigger scheme of things, is a gift, very much so. Hence the Ten of Pentacles here. It's like, and it's almost like fast track progress. But in order to get from an ace and, you know, jump to a 10, it requires a choice being made. But all of these reverse cards are speaking to stagnant, low vibrational energy of behaviors, thoughts, feelings, approaches to things that have not changed. That is the bondage. That's what keeps a person stuck. That's how we can literally see spirit right in front of our face and not even recognize spirit, because we're so entrenched in our mind. That's what the 31st is about. The Taurus full moon is the golden calf. It's the 3D things in life that we put up on a pedestal, even if it's mindsets that we honor more than we do our own spiritual origins. You know, it's the world of materialism. It's making your life about material things, i.e. Eight of Pentacles. You know what I'm saying? When it's like, in truth, both people, it's almost like trading places in a sense, how both of you could learn something from each other. But at present, it's still being stuck in one's ways, man. So all this requires is a change of perspective, some self-reflection, of course, but it's needing to really look back at the situation differently. And if you don't have the skills to do so, Challenge yourself and say, well, this is what I believe happened, and this is what I believe always happened, right? Or happens in my life, and challenge yourself to think differently. You know? Challenge yourself to think differently. And as difficult as that may be, try to put yourself in the other person's shoes. Try to see it from their perspective, looking at it objectively, you know? Man, this is wild. I don't know what to say about this. This is heavy. I mean, all of these readings so far have been, but I mean, I can't say that I'm surprised. I totally felt that, man. I totally felt that. This is wild. And for some of y'all, this literally goes back to 2016 for some of y'all. This is wild, man. This is wild. This has nothing to do with the other person and everything to do with the individual, which kind of makes sense of why it is all of these readings have come out like I'm literally just talking to the Crosswatcher person and less about the other person. You know? It has more to do with you than it does to this person. And it's a need to see that. This is wild, man. My mind is blown. My mind is so blown. Because this is really carrying unnecessary burdens, man. Wow. I don't know what else to say. I'm literally speechless for real in real life. Like, this is blowing my mind even seeing it. Because this is like stuff I've been aware of for months. And it's like seeing it in cards, like it's kind of blowing my mind because it's like, it's even me at this moment looking at this where I'm getting an even deeper understanding of this, of why all of these readings have been like this, why it's like you're telling the same story over and over and over again, because it's like one way or the other, it's like spirit is trying to get to people, man, because it's getting close. It's like one way or the other. It's like the message is going to be heard and people are going to hear it because they have to. It's in your highest good. But it's just the fact of like, I don't know how this is coming out like this, dude. It's like, it's the fact that in reality, dude, the way that we as humanity have been going on up to this point is very antiquated. It's very, very antiquated. It's very, very outdated. And just like any of you who are professionals, how we have to take CEUs, continued education units, right? Because it's to stay fresh on things that are constantly changing in your field, especially if you're in a field of science. Things are always changing. But it's like, it's to stay on top of things. But in life, it's like we rarely, if ever, do that. And people get stuck, you know? And I said that in the Aries Bae reading. It's like people get stuck. And even when spirit will orchestrate, I'm not gonna say orchestrate because you got free will, but it's like, even if you look at it in the sense of transits, how everything could be like conspiring in your favor and still refusing to see it, still being just completely blind to it and wanting to believe that life is happening to you. All of these bad things happen to me, and being stuck in your past and feeling hopeless about the future and things never work out, and you know, days, months, years of your life wasting away grieving over people who aren't even here anymore. And I'm not talking about loved ones that passed, but specifically like in romantic relationships, you know? It's like people are losing years of their life being stuck in a dead time. And the more time that you spend somewhere, you will begin to turn into it. So if you are existing in the past is gone, it's dead. You're eventually going to turn into stagnated death, you know? it's like spirit is fluid and consistently moving. Life is too short to be caught up into things like that or to disassociate from your life. You know, I think of that movie Click with Adam Sandler. I always loved that movie because I was like, that's how people live. People live like that. Like people are so focused on the end goal or the ultimate thing that they want, whether it's the person, it's the relationship, it's the job, it's the money, it's the house, it's the car. It's being so fixated on all of these things that you can't take with you, that don't really matter in the bigger scheme of things, that they will miss out on so much in their life of being able to enjoy life now, just being able to breathe, to be alive, to just be here in this moment. People miss out on that, like chasing, like feathers in the wind. You know what I'm saying? And it's like when you get the stuff, you're still not satisfied and you go on a whole nother quest to try to find something to fulfill you, and everything it is that each and every human being on planet Earth is looking for is here, has always been here, and will always be in the same place. And it's within you. To cut off your emotions is to cut off spirit. To cut off your heart is to cut off spirit. To retreat into your mind is to retreat into your humanity. Humanity is finite. Spirit is infinite. You know, it's like, this is so much deeper than just a romantic relationship, dude. It's like, this is an epic life lesson that I think is beautiful, because it's giving you the opportunity to see who it is that's really looking at you through your eyes in the mirror. Like, who is that really? This is an opportunity to learn just that. Don't miss the opportunity, Crosswatcher or Taurus. I don't know, bro. Like, it is what it is. That's been your reading. I'm going to go over to Vimeo, my website, Patreon, and YouTube members to do this extended. That should be interesting. So if you're about that life, follow me over there. You know what I'm saying? If not, I still love your face, because I feel like we all going to have to process this. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I love your face, and I will see you guys sooner than later. It's very fascinating.